An estimated 4,751 people bedded down outside overnight in 2017, up 15% on previous year. Rough sleepers are defined for the purposes of official counts as people sleeping about to bed down or bedded down on the street, in doorways, parks, tents, bus shelters, cars, barns, sheds and other places not designed for habitation. Photograph Graham Robertson for The Guardian. Rough sleeping has risen for the 7th consecutive year in England. Latest official figures show statistics published by the government on Thursday reveal that an estimated 4,751 people bedded down outside overnight in 2017, up 15% on the previous year. The figures, based on snapshot street counts and paper estimates by local authorities, show that London, where figures rose by 18%, remains the centre of rough sleeping, accounting for nearly a quarter of all rough sleepers. However, the rest of England recorded a 14% rise, with the biggest regional increase in the northwest. 39%, where rough sleeping has almost doubled over the past 2 years, and quadrupled since 2010. There was also evidence that rough sleeping has increased rapidly in many areas of the wider southeast, where Oxford, Southend-on-Sea, Thanet, Swindon, Medway, Eastbourne, Hastings, Worthing, Peterborough, Reading and Wiltshire all recorded rises at double the national average. At local authority level there were above national average year-on-year increases in Manchester, Brighton and Hove, Bristol, Bedford and Southend-on-Sea, Oxford, Salford, Bournemouth. Milton Keynes. The North London borough of Camden posted a 647% increase, though this appears to correct a huge underestimate the previous year. When population size is taken into account, the wider southeast of the country outside the capital, suggesting that the problem of homelessness had shifted beyond the capital into Tory heartlands. Areas recording big rises include Brighton and Hove, Manchester, Southend, Bedford and Bristol. The government has pledged to halve rough sleeping by 2022, and are eradicated completely by 2027. However, John Healey, Labour's shadow housing secretary, commenting on new rough sleeping statistics released today which have shown that rough sleeping has reached its highest level this decade, said, "These shameful figures are a terrible reminder of the consequences of a Conservative government. The number of people sleeping rough fell under Labour but has more than doubled since 2010, and is up for the 7th year in a row under the Tories. This is a direct result of decisions made by Conservative ministers: a steep drop in investment for affordable homes, crude cuts to housing benefit, reduced funding for homelessness services, and a refusal to help private renters. A Labour government will end rough sleeping within its first term in office, and tackle the root causes of rising homelessness." The chief executive of crisis charity, John Sparks, said, "It is truly a catastrophe that in a country as prosperous as this, more and more people are finding themselves forced to sleep in dangerous and freezing conditions, when we have evidence to show how the situation could be turned around. Today's report makes it only too clear that unless we take action as a society, the problem is only going to keep getting worse with every year that passes." Ian Brady, DePaul UK's interim chief executive, said, "Without a determined response, we risk returning to the extremely high levels of rough sleeping we saw in the 1980s and 1990s. Rough sleeping has risen by 15% overall, and 28% rise in the number of young people sleeping rough is especially worrying." Homeless Link chief executive Rick Henderson said, "This rise in rough sleeping is appalling, with a saddening growth in the number of people without a safe place to stay and at risk of deteriorating mental and physical health." Rough sleepers are defined for the purposes of official counts as people sleeping about to bed down or bedded down on the street, in doorways, parks, tents, bus shelters, cars, barns, sheds and other places not designed for habitation. It does not include people in hostels or shelters or formal temporary accommodation. More details soon.